lightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Hi, my name is Molly Party. I'm a realtor with MP Dodge Real Estate. I'm a newly licensed agent and considered numerous brokerages before deciding on MP Dodge. I chose the company that gives me the most support in my new career, plus guidance and encouragement along the way. MP Dodge has a unique mentoring program for new agents. It's helped jumpstart my career and has a supportive management team and administrative staff. So if you're contemplating a career in real estate, look no further than MP Dodge. It will be the best decision you make.
Western Sand and Gravel is hiring for a variety of positions at their sand and gravel plants near Ashland. Apply today and receive a $2,500 hiring bonus. Available positions include plant operators, dredge operators, and shop service technicians. They offer great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, paid holidays, and paid time off. No matter your experience level, on-the-job training is available to help you build a rewarding career with Western Sand and Gravel. Start your career today. Visit westernsand.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. It's time to go one-on-one with DP. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Derek Pearson. Brought to you by Canopy Street Market.
Boom. In your face. In your face. I said in your face. On a Wednesday. 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. You can be a part of this hour of radio by texting the Starter Heyman text line 402-464-5685. And you should, because second half of this show is fire. Fire, I say. Fire, flames, explosions, hype, juice, everything. Everything. You can follow on all of the streams, Facebook, YouTube, X, LO Channel 961. You can download the Ticket app, as you should have already done. But if you haven't, take time so that you can take us wherever you go, whenever you go. We can be with you. Because that's what you want. You want to hang out. You don't want to leave your family. If you're traveling, you need to have it with you. You know, sometimes in the car, sometimes at the crib, sometimes at the office, sometimes sharing it with friends. You might want to do that. So we offer that. You can also follow on Amazon Prime if you're fancy. You can. I know that you're all set up, fired up, ramped up, prepared, bought up for July 4th, Friday. We will not be live Friday. We'll run some replays. I'm pretty sure this hour will be amongst them over the course of this thing. If you need supplies, last minute supplies, you're planning in advance, Canopy Street Market. Canopy Street Market. Go to Canopy Street Market. Go down and see Dan Swanson. Hit him with a what's up. Let him know you're a ticket fan and fanatic. Let him know so that he can hook you up. And it is exceptional. It is exceptional down there. So whatever your need, if you need deli meat, you need fresh cut steak, you need chicken, poultry, you need sausage links, hot dogs, buns, beverages, whatever you need, Canopy Street Market has. So hit them up. Am I excited today? Yes, I am. Yes, I am, because you asked for it. This is why I'm excited. When the listeners ask for a thing and you're able to deliver on that thing, it's pretty cool. And if you had said that our guest today would be on the ticket for any reason 3 years ago, 2 years ago, you have bumped your head, sir. Ma'am, we're in Lincoln, Nebraska. That's not really going to happen. But at 12:30-ish, we will be joined on one-on-one by a national champion. He won the national championship in his freshman year. In a one-loss season as a freshman. Finished third last year. I got to watch him up close at nationals. And a lot of his characteristics are on full display. To tell you that in a room that featured, again, this Nebraska team, the Penn State crew, the ones and twos, Iowa's in the building, Penn State and all of their fans, since you're in Philadelphia for the Nationals, Iowa and its nation of wrestling fans that show up, Oklahoma State and their folks. But amongst them, to fairly say, going into the tournament, the most hype centered around Gabe Stevenson. But not far behind at all. And there are people that have presence, Bach, that when you see them and how they go about their business, their ability to focus amongst chaos, the most impressive thing that I saw, the wrestling speaks for itself, but when you handle the chaos that comes from being a known name, a known face, and a known value, your ability to stay focused in that and train and locked in stands out. And so I was in the back quarter, and I've told the story in following the Huskers. So when the Huskers, they had a holding area in the corridor with tents and such, or curtains. And the wrestlers would rest. They would recover, eat snacks, get treatment, otherwise. But in that corridor, to walk from the main entrance to where the wrestlers would make their entrance onto the mat, it was shared space. And outside of the media room, I had kind of built a home. So I could see who was coming and going, kind of get a read on who they were and what was going on with them, how they looked. You get immediate response to seeing them as they come off the mat. And you watch. Like, I watched Gable Stevenson. I watched him warm up, cool down, the conversations that happen between coaches and wrestlers, the conversations that happen between wrestlers and wrestlers. And it's not as much space as you would think, Bach. And it's pretty interesting to imagine that the guy that you're wrestling for your dream is in the shared space with you. He's in the shared space with you. Like, you have to see the guy that you're about to go toe to toe with. And so their interaction was always interesting. But his name is AJ Ferrari. and he will join us at 12:30. Greatly appreciate it. And with our coverage of Husker wrestling and being consistent in how we plan on going forward. And again, you guys get to see and hear Ridge Lovett, the national champion, every Tuesday. And you get to meet. He had a couple of the freshmen on yesterday. You could meet them and hang out. Get some behind the scenes on what was happening, right? And it was interesting to hear Ridge as the elder statesman. But I've talked to Ridge about AJ Ferrari. And I've also talked to some folks in WWE about AJ Ferrari. And then you talk to some folks in the UFC about AJ Ferrari. And this young man is unique, special. He's one of one. There's no other way to say it. There's not 51-2, I believe, career in collegiate wrestling. What? What? 2 takedowns from being undefeated and a 2-time national champion. Pretty exceptional work across this thing. And yeah, he's bounced around. He's had some friction. Friction is the word that I like to use about lessons that we learned in life along the way, and then being measured by how you deal with that friction. A lot of people succumb to the friction. The friction grabs you and takes you backwards, or lowers you, drags you down. But masters of a thing take the friction and elevate and use it for leverage. That I'm going to get better because of this thing I just learned. And not everybody does that. And when we're talking about college athletes, we forget these are college athletes. And things that happen with you, in your 18, 19 years really aren't the measure of who you are in full, how you respond to it and what you try to achieve from it. So he is fully a young man that has wrapped himself and dove into his faith. I think in his evolution from being the individual star that he is to aspiring to being a part of something bigger than himself, which is pretty remarkable when you're a unique talent like that. Wrestling is a one-off sport. So if you can commit to a team concept and team building, and if you're a Husker fan and you're looking forward to next season, first of all, I hope that you have gone online and gotten your Husker wrestling season passes. If you have not, today's a really good day to do that. Just going to let you know, get your Husker season passes. 7 returning All-Americans. 7, including a national champion and a national runner-up. And then, oh, by the way, let's add to it, in a weight class of need, a superstar, a generational superstar. And the fact that he has committed to moving himself up for the greater good of the team and his own being, right? The challenge of moving up. He's going to move up from 197 to heavyweight. And that process, amongst a myriad of things that are impressive about the young man, is willing to do that. And then to choose, because most programs he would have gone into, he would be the national champion and the focus. He understands that in that weight room, in that wrestling room, that the Huskers have depth. They have ready-made improvement friction for AJ Ferrari. Because there's some dudes in that room that will go toe-to-toe with him and make him better. Tervel's in the room. You already got a national champion. Tervel knows what's required to have this sort of success. To have a room. I mean, Mark Manning has put together a room of coaches. Great leadership across the board. I mean, James Green, listen, they've got guys up and down. And then the fact that AJ now has people to wrestle against who were also national qualifiers, mind you, who might not make the starting lineup. So that practice room is going to be fierce, and the offseason will be fierce. I was told that he does not have an off switch, and I look forward to the fact that we get introduced to him in full, in person, today, 12:30. Here on the ticket. Bach, what do you think? Has there ever been a transfer? Jordy Ball is the recent example of a national champion who had eligibility, who then chose Nebraska to finish their career and to achieve all the other things that they want to accomplish. Can you think of another that is of that level? I'm not sure that I can.
No, I can't think, not off the top of my head. And like you said, the only one you can kind of think of is Jordy Ball, and that's again, shout out to Nebraska's athletic department for, or whatever the collectives, whatever we're using. And Ferrari, by the way, said that's not the primary reason, but I just want to say to get the level of Jordy Ball and AJ Ferrari is incredible for this, the sporting department, the sports over at Nebraska that aren't football. As much as we say it's a football school, to be able to add to this, and I can think, you can think about the corn dogs, as we call them, the Georgia Bulldogs that won national championships, came over to Nebraska, but it's not anybody, it's not an individual, they weren't like the star players of that team. Ball and Ferrari are the only ones that I can really think of, and I can't wait to see, because he's just got so much potential, as you were saying, as a human being, to do whatever's next after wrestling, and then so much potential in wrestling this year to help Nebraska, who for the years and years, like, people take for granted, Mark Manning's had this program at a very high level, top 5 program for 20 years, whatever it is. Well, they had their highest finish last year, and now they've got this loaded roster. This is the best that Mark Manning's wrestling program has been, in the best shape it's in. So, it is an exciting time to be a Husker wrestling fan.
Yeah, I don't know. I know that there were a couple of football transfers that transferred in from Alabama, Georgia.
Yeah.
Right? But they weren't the ones. Right? I think to compare it, honestly, you would have to say that not unless Jalen Hurts.
Right. Yeah.
transferred in, right? That maybe you would consider that. Maybe if you had gotten Joe Burrow.
Don't bring that up again.
right. And Barney, you're absolutely right that we're not real sure that they're done. But I love the idea. I love the idea that they're not done. So much so that other talented wrestlers are also considering Nebraska and being a part of Go Big Red Wrestling. Without, you could talk about the Bo Bassett's, you can talk about his brother Milton, you can talk about there are wrestlers around the country, and then there are wrestlers in other programs who have their eyes toward Nebraska. And here's what we were talking about it earlier in the week, that what enthuses me and gives me hope is that you have so many of these folks who are making these considerations, and it's just not for money. That they're making these decisions because Lincoln, the University of Nebraska, and these athletic programs are good for them. They're good for them and going to help them achieve the things that they're dreaming about, hoping for. That, listen, Dylan didn't play in other programs, but he was committed to Ohio State and Georgia before Nebraska. And I think the importance of being able to say and remind people that in the recruiting process, how you treat these recruits is vital. Because in the transfer portal world, if something goes left where they're at, they immediately will go to, and it won't necessarily be for money. It will be, where am I going to get fed the nutrition that I need to be the best version of me? The people who are coming for money, who are looking for money in their transfer portal decisions, those are obvious. But there's value in winning. There's value in competing. There's value in friction and learning how to deal with this stuff. And to have somebody choose it, and to have Nebraska be the place that, look, we know that Penn State is the North Star. We know that Penn State is the problem at the top of this thing. And everybody, it is the standard how you meet through it. But what happened in Philadelphia, and I can't tell you, Bach, the number of people that I talked to in Philadelphia, whether it be at our hotel, in restaurants, in the building. I was repping Nebraska colors. And the number of people who stopped and said, man, it is really impressive what Nebraska's doing. Because in day one, it was, they took a loss and then got on a roll. They got on a roll. And then that's segment one, and then session one, and then session two, Nebraska's on a roll. And day two, session one, Nebraska's on a roll. And everybody's looking, and then there's a moment where you look at the board and they've got the team standings, and oh my goodness gracious. Who's at number one? That's not Penn State. You could have just handwritten in Sharpie Penn State in the one spot and then let everybody else fall in line. Except Nebraska shook the foundation of collegiate wrestling at the highest level on the biggest stage. And we can't talk about Nebraska athletics like that since 97, where it shook the sport at its highest level on its biggest stage to its core. And not having a national champion and then getting a national champion and then another and almost a third. And then, oh, by the way, that's without talking about the all of the All-Americans and the fact that, you know what? They were returning All-Americans. So the bright lights won't be so bright. The stage won't be so big. And as Mark Manning in this wrestling program will tell you, the ability to mentally not make a thing bigger than it is. Everybody paid attention. The Husker wrestlers paid attention. Like you could see them looking at each other at times in this thing like, this is happening. This is happening, bro. This is happening. And to think that there was disappointment when they didn't win the title. Caleb Smith will tell you, he was disappointed in his finish because he felt like he had put in the work and was talented enough to stay at the top of the podium. You know, you could say it. Lenny Pinto, not satisfied. You had a freshman wrestle at 197 who stunned the entire country by getting on the podium and being an All-American. Still not satisfied. Brock Hardy was a bad meal from being a national champion. A bad meal the morning of the championships. And still put on a show and put up one heck of a fight. But he wasn't at 100%, and none of them are. That's true. But to have 3 finalists and 2 of them get a win, and not really looking at Penn State the same way anymore. Because late in the dance, they looked at Penn State, and they had to look down in the standings to find it. And that is so badass that it was cool to watch. It was cool. From the text line, it says culture nowadays is more important than ever. Nebraska wrestling has just that. They wrestle for each other. They wrestle for this state. You can't say that about other schools. It is a full statement in full. Like I would think that in being at the top level of it and watching Penn State, right? And that's the standard, right? That's the standard in results. That's the standard in fan representation and support because they traveled. They traveled to the Big Ten tournament. They traveled to Philadelphia. I mean, again, it wasn't far going from Happy Valley to Philadelphia, but still, the same is said when the tournament was here, when the wrestling tournament was here in Lincoln, Penn State showed up. Iowa showed up. Oklahoma State showed up. to watch it happen in real time, Bach was for all of the sporting events that I've been to, I was more impressed by Nebraska wrestling over the course of those tournament days, and that's including the Big Ten tournament. Because the Big Ten tournament, I'm not sure people expected Nebraska to finish second to Penn State at the Big Ten tournament. I mean, text line, you can tell me if I'm wrong, but it was not the vibe I was getting. I wasn't getting we're coming to the Big Ten tournament to finish to compete with Penn State. And I can tell you that Iowa and its fans, Michigan, Ohio State, they all kind of felt like, but they were all impressed. The standard has changed. And what the addition, the re-recruitment of AJ Ferrari says is that they were so classy and standardized in what their approach was in recruiting him that when he became available again, he chose Nebraska. And the reasons why he chose Nebraska, I will certainly ask him why. I want to know why AJ Ferrari, why Nebraska, what's next? Because, and I'll say it in advance. I'm putting the disclaimer out there once again that there's zero chance I can get to everything I want to ask this young man in 30 minutes or 22 minutes of talk time or whatever it is. I'll do my best. I'll get to as much. You can text in if you have something you want me to ask. I'm asking you to be considerate. I'll try to get to some. Don't be jerks on the text line. That's not what we're doing. But I'm excited because this was his decision to come on the ticket. This was not hey, I'm not casting bait out there to get this young man and his people, his staff of people, chose to be on the ticket. And I'm honored by it. And I'm glad that we get the opportunity to sit down and talk to him and meet him. So we will go to break here. When we come back, AJ Ferrari, Nebraska wrestling national champion, will join us on One-on-One.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store. You're listening to One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play it against sports at 48th and Vine.
Western Sand and Gravel is hiring for a variety of positions at their sand and gravel plants near Ashland. Apply today and receive a $2,500 hiring bonus. Available positions include plant operators, dredge operators, and shop service technicians. They offer great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, paid holidays, and paid time off. No matter your experience level, on-the-job training is available to help you build a rewarding career with Western Sand and Gravel. Start your career today. Visit westernsand.com.
Hi, my name is Molly Party. I'm a realtor with MP Dodge Real Estate. I'm a newly licensed agent and considered numerous brokerages before deciding on MP Dodge. I chose the company that gives me the most support in my new career, plus guidance and encouragement along the way. MP Dodge has a unique mentoring program for new agents. It's helped jumpstart my career and has a supportive management team and administrative staff. So if you're contemplating a career in real estate, look no further than MP Dodge. It will be the best decision you make.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, and the hail sale has been a huge success, but is winding down. We still, though, have several units with huge discounts. Plus, we have brand new Sierras, $14,000 off list, or starting at $37,105, or 0.9% APR on select new models. Yes, you heard right. $14,000 off or 0.9% APR on new Sierras starting at $37,105. So please check us out at cobblecars.com. All deals with roof credit, stock number G2893558.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com. 4th of July weekend is coming soon, and you know what that means. Grilling season. You know what's more embarrassing than an overcooked piece of meat? A dirty, disgusting, and grimy grill. Let the pros at Husker Grill Cleaning get you ready for grilling season. They'll take your grill apart piece by piece, scrub every inch, and reassemble your grill so it can look and perform its best. Visit their website, huskergrillcleaning.com today to schedule your appointment. Husker Grill Cleaning, serving Lincoln, Omaha, Malcolm, and more.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see decreasing clouds throughout the day. It'll be breezy and hot with an afternoon high near 93. Tonight, mainly clear skies and a light breeze, a low around 71. And tomorrow, we'll see mainly sunny skies. It'll be breezy and hot again with a high near 94. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fleck for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Attention baseball and softball players. The Nebraska Dominators are looking to add players to their baseball and softball teams for the 2026 season. Tryouts are happening now for all age groups, ranging from 7 years old to 14 and under for baseball and 7 years old to 18 and under for softball. Visit the Nebraska Dominators Facebook page for more information today.
You're listening to One-on-One with DP, sponsored by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
One-on-one on a Wednesday, DP, Jake Bachhoven. We are going to go short here because AJ is running a couple of minutes late, so we're gonna save some time for him. Y'all are here to hear him, not me. So I am going to we'll set the table for it and then come back and have you meet AJ Ferrari from the text line. Says, when is he coming on? Just a matter of moments. And is he going to wrestle heavyweight? Yes. A part of his story is the journey and the selection and choice to be able to do this, that he will move from 197 to heavyweight. And then the transition, the body transformation is big. I mean, that's a huge, huge jump. But he is such a unique athlete and such a unique person that he was, as the story goes, his diet is pretty ridiculous. And of course, I will ask him about that diet as well. But the man is an eating machine as much as you can consume. But his body fat and gaining the weight, his body fat, I mean, I think he said he was at like 11%, which is still phenomenal. He's going to actually gain more weight and then cut down, but he's still working out 3 times a day. And even in the off season, plus camps, He is a soldier to this, to the discipline side of this thing. And again, part of the discussion with him is having him break down those things, who he is and how he goes about his business, and then what he brings to Nebraska, because he's adding to the number 2 program in the country. Nebraska will be ranked number 2 going into the season. I would imagine 2nd or 3rd. He certainly adds to that, and he fills in a spot in the lineup. Listen, love Harley, but you have a national champion now in heavyweight, and when you're going through those bigger weight classes, to have hammers to close out dual meets, etc., it's important. It's important, and it changes. We always used to say that, points getting off the bus with your biggest guy. Well, now at the heavyweight division, and again, if you don't have your Husker wrestling tickets, today's a really good day to do this. Today's a really good day to just jump on the Husker website and get your Husker wrestling tickets. I know the season ticket holders generally tend to renew, and that's been done. But even if it's getting the general admission passes for the season, I would suggest this is a really good time to do that. 7 All-Americans, and then the addition of AJ Ferrari just adds ton to the program. So here's what we do, Bach. We'll go to break here and then come back in a few minutes, and AJ Ferrari will be in the room with us when we come back.
Watch live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. You're listening to One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, my name is Molly Party. I'm a realtor with MP Dodge Real Estate. I'm a newly licensed agent and considered numerous brokerages before deciding on MP Dodge. I chose the company that gives me the most support in my new career, plus guidance and encouragement along the way. MP Dodge has a unique mentoring program for new agents. It's helped jumpstart my career and has a supportive management team and administrative staff. So if you're contemplating a career in real estate, look no further than MP Dodge. It will be the best decision you make.
In today's digital world, technology works great until it doesn't. At Hamilton, we work to keep your business up and running. We are more than an IT company. We're your partner, focused on customized solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Say goodbye to tech stress and unexpected IT costs when you hire Hamilton. Together, we help you focus on what really matters. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Connect with us at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
Need service on your home air conditioner? Call the company Lincoln has counted on since 1952, Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating. No matter what brand you have, when you need service, you want Bryant's experienced pros working for you. Friendly, NATE certified technicians with the tools, training, and technology to restore your comfort quickly. No matter what brand, when you need service, just call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sartor Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sartorheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine. Is your child 7 to 8 years old and wanting to get involved in competitive baseball or softball? The Nebraska Dominators have been active in the youth sports community community since 1994 and are currently holding tryouts for their 7U and 8U baseball and softball teams. Visit the Nebraska Dominators Facebook page for more info today and provide your player the path to a successful and enjoyable youth sports experience with the help of the Nebraska Dominators.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Play ball! Ready for summer fun and ballpark vibes? Bring your pack to Haymarket Park for a thrilling season of Lincoln Salt Dogs baseball and unleash the fun. From May through August, the Lincoln Salt Dogs will be playing and the park will be popping with all the food, drinks, and fun you need for the perfect night out. Grab your friends, family, and coworkers and make plans now. Visit saltdogs.com to secure your tickets. Come on out to the park and unleash the fun.
4th of July weekend is coming soon, and you know what that means. Grilling season. You know what's more embarrassing than an overcooked piece of meat? A dirty, disgusting, and grimy grill. Let the pros at Husker Grill Cleaning get you ready for grilling season. They'll take your grill apart piece by piece, scrub every inch, and reassemble your grill so it can look and perform its best. Visit their website, HuskerGrillCleaning.com today to schedule your appointment. Husker Grill Cleaning, serving Lincoln, Omaha, Malcolm, and more.
You're listening to One-on-One with DP on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I would like to now officially announce my commitment. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Here we go, okay? I got it right here, okay? Here we go.
Here we go. Big reveal. Taking off the jacket.
I would like to officially announce my commitment to the University of Nebraska.
Wow.
Let's go!
The Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Let's go! Welcome back to One-on-One DP Bach. We are joined now by the AJ Ferrari. Kind sir, how you doing, man? Welcome to Lincoln. Welcome to the Ticket. How you doing?
Doing great. Just excited for the future of Nebraska wrestling. You know, I'm so happy to be here. Everybody's been amazing. Nothing but amazing things to say. And it's good to be back around a team, you know, going after a national championship, not just me individually, but as a team, and just that hunger. And then Coach Manning, you know, he's the one that's just talks so highly of just everyone here, and everything that he said has come to true so far. So it's just amazing, and I'm just grateful.
You have walked into kind of a storm of positive movement, and it leads me to ask, and all our text, we have a text line where our listeners text in, and they've asked the question. So I'll now ask you on their behalf, why Nebraska?
Yeah, the biggest thing for sure was just when I look at joining a program, right, I don't look at just what they're accomplishing, right? Obviously, that's great being here. That was a huge thing. But as a coaching staff, you know, a lot of coaches say, you know, I'm going to be closer to you and love you and help you regardless of results on the wrestling mat, right? And you can't judge people, though, based on what they say. For me, I judge them based on the way they act and the way they do their lives, you know? And, like, that's a big thing for me is, like, going from different schools and having all these schools come after me. All the coaches at Nebraska Wrestling were strong in their fellowship with the Lord, you know, and they didn't just speak it. They didn't have to. You could see it in their lives, you know, that's huge to me, that they have those fruit. You know, a good tree in the Bible, it says, will have good fruit, and a bad tree will have bad fruit. You know, and they can try to put on an act for a couple of days on the official visit. But from talking to their guys, and honestly, I almost came back. I don't know if you guys know this. Back in 2019, when I took my official visit here, it was about the second school on my list. I ended up staying close to home, going to Oklahoma State. But man, just amazing what they got going on here with Coach Manning, and the fact that they have one thing that speaks truly of how, you know, strong and how good the coaching staff is that they haven't had the biggest number one recruiting classes. They've had some of the not as good number 5, number 4, number 3 recruiting classes, and been able to take second, you know, and beat teams, you know, and surpass them that have better recruits. You know, that shows that they're helping their guys grow, not just in their wrestling, but in their lifestyles. AJ, it is interesting. And I full disclosure, I told the listeners there's zero chance that I could get you to delve into all the things that you need to talk about for folks to know who you are. Right. And the wrestling part, easily trackable.
But you and your faith, you and your guidance, you and your boundary, you and your discipline are so important to you. And as a coach, it's this thing that resonates with me is how hard does somebody do the things that aren't pleasant? How disciplined are you? Where does that come from for you?
I think that really what comes from me is understanding that you have to learn to embrace suffering and embrace hard times. A lot of people want the result, and the thing for me that I think that separates me as a competitor is that I love the training just as much as I love the result. But just like for me, I love the day-to-day stuff just as much as I love, getting into God's kingdom. A lot of people just want the result. They just want to be a national champion, the result of training, right? They just want the result of fulfilling God's plan of salvation, of having eternal life with the Lord, going to heaven, right? But for me, I love the lifestyle, I love the day-to-day training. I love lifting 600 pounds for reps on deadlift just as much as I love winning national championship. And that's what separates me. I love preaching and helping people grow in their faith, doing wrestling camps, bringing kids to Christ that don't truly have that in their house, maybe some of them, just as much as I love my salvation, because that is a part of it, so that's big for me. And I think that that's just something that's amazing here. And I'm just grateful to God to have the opportunities. And when the parable of the talents, when God gives you more, you're expected more, so that's big for people to understand. I always tell people at my camps, the worst thing in life is wasted talent. You look around in our generation, there's so many people that could have been, should have been, would have been this, but they decided to take the easy route and they decided to not take the path less taken, but that's one thing that my dad always grew me up with is like a lot of what you're seeing is just like the way my dad grew me up and my brothers is why you see them. My brother Angelo wrestling in Iowa, being the 184 pounder, being number one in the country right now, me being number one in the country at 285, my brother Anthony, going to be top in the country at 165, it's just the way that we were raised with that work ethic and then the true faith in the Lord, and my dad didn't have to preach it, but he lived it by serving my mother, by always putting my mother first, in every aspect of life. And then just the work ethic of like, you always find a way to succeed. There's always a way to find an excuse. And there's always a way to find a way to succeed.
Well, that is the gospel, that you can make a way. You can make an excuse. Waymakers usually stand at the top of the podium. That's how that works. It is a thing. You talked about your dad, and I'm around the UFC circle enough that I know your dad is a dude. Your dad is a dude, and I think Lincoln has to prepare itself for when the senior Ferrari shows up in Lincoln, because he is a rock. Talk to me about your dad.
Yeah, so my dad, just the way that he grew us up, he wasn't the dad that you necessarily wanted growing up, the
dad you needed, though.
But it's just the dad you needed, because like just the way we grew up, one thing that my dad always did is like a lot of kids want to like make their kids' lifestyles easy and fun and good. But for me, everything that he tried to do was to make our lives absolutely miserable and make us learn to embrace that. Like, as crazy as that sounds, like the stuff that he put us through, like things that seemed impossible, like, for instance, let me give you an example. We'd say, oh, we're going to go run to my Uncle Randy's house, right? 3 miles there, whatever. And you have to stick at like, a 6-7 minute pace, whatever the pace was for the day, depending on the weather. If it was 100 degrees out, he might cut us a little bit of slack. If it was nicer weather, it'd have to be faster, right? So we're running, and then we'd get there, and all of a sudden, when we get there and we stop, right? He's like, what are you doing? You got to do 3 miles back at the same pace. And so it was.
But let me see. So was this in Allen, Texas? So
Allen, Texas.
So I was in the Woodlands, Texas. So I know the terrain in Allen, Texas. That's not really conducive to a son that sits on your shoulder as you run. So you're telling me you're doing six miles round trip,
right?
Just because.
Just because. And, well, sometimes we'd be doing workouts, practices. And let's say working hard, if you didn't work hard at that practice, if you were being lazy and my dad saw you were cutting corners, you were getting a ride home, so he'd be like, get a ride home. I'm not bringing you.
You gotta find a way.
My dad's quote is, in my family, if you don't work, you don't eat. That's my dad's quote. So you're not going to eat with the family. You can eat by yourself, go eat by yourself. But if you don't work in my family, you don't eat. I don't respect it. That's the biggest thing I feel like in the Italian culture, passed down generations. Every generation makes a sacrifice for the next one, so that's like my great grandfather. I know I had to like move out at 12 years old to get a job, so, and then my grandfather was the first one to get an education, become an accountant. And then now my dad's an accountant as well. I was the first one to go on a full ride scholarship. And then my brothers are following in my footsteps as well. So, actually my sister, I guess you could say her too, because my sister had a full ride academic scholarship as well. But and she's also an accountant, so my family's good with numbers. That's our type of thing.
I think they're going to need to be. You got lots going on, AJ. There's lots in space. AJ Ferrari joins us one-on-one. I think for listeners, and again, trying to get as much of this into a short space, but the decision to move from 197 to heavyweight is, one, it's a personal challenge of epic proportion, and then it's the ultimate team choice to help Nebraska pursue a greater goal, a purpose bigger than the individuals doing it. Walk me through the process and the conversation to get you to move to heavyweight.
Well, when I was, transferring, so after I was, committed to UNC, and then the whole thing went down, I hit the portal, I had all these schools hitting me up, right? I had a lot of schools reaching out to me. The biggest thing for me was like, I told the coaches, and I wanted to be clear that I'm going to try to go heavyweight to the best of my ability. But if I can't put on the weight, if I don't feel healthy that I can win and dominate and win a national championship, I'm not going to do it. Now I've gotten here and I feel more than ready to win a national championship at heavyweight, just from my weight and the way I'm training, the way I'm feeling. Right. But that was a big thing for me, is just the weight and just how it's going to be on my body. So there's ups and downs to both sides. Right. So at 197, right. I think the easiest thing for me is I've already won it there. I already know the weight class. I've already beaten all those guys, but the biggest thing was that coming here, they already have a guy that took 8th as a freshman, so it'd really be a much bigger help to go heavyweight for the team. Not to mention I like to eat. And 197 this past year was a real struggle. I really did at Cal State Bakersfield technically almost bust weight. I remember I stepped on the scale, it was like 0.2 over, I stepped on again, and I made flat at one of my tournaments. So it was just this year's, my body has grown, and even when I got my freshman year, 197 was even tough to make. I was always a big cutter. I remember one day I had to cut 8 pounds morning of, and that was my first loss I had because my legs were so shot from running that morning. I ran I think 5 miles, with like 4 layers on, in the heat. And it was terrible, and that's why I didn't finish those shots. So I think heavyweight's been a blessing. But the hardest thing for me is, like, people think cutting weight is hard, right? Dieting, lifestyle, not being able to eat. I do a lot of fasting when I was going 97 last year. But man, going heavyweight's tough for me too, just because you got to eat. Like me right now, I'm eating about every 2 hours. The last couple of weeks, I was doing about anywhere from 2 to 4 pounds of meat per day. So thankfully, that's a big thing. Me coming here too was the training table. So we have the training table here, which is the absolute. And I was just UNC with Bill Belichick, who had they boasted in our coaching staff at the wrestling program there was like, yeah, you come here, you get to eat here, and their training table is basically the same as Tom Brady's. But the biggest thing was, like, it wasn't near as nice and near as big as the one they have here. The one here is just a camaraderie. You eat with the football team. It's not separate. The football guys are there. I actually just hung out with a bunch of football players a couple of days ago. I was hanging out with Bodie, a bunch of the guys, Eric, having a good time. They had a really good time with them. All the football guys are very similar because they're constantly trying to get big. A lot of them trying to eat. So you got to eat big to get big, and it's just like, for me, it's constant because of my metabolism. Like every 2 hours, pretty much, I'm putting something into my body, and I have to eat, even if I'm not hungry. Like that's the most important part of eating, is eating when you're not hungry. So I've already, when I got here, I was like, when I first took the official visit before I left, right? When I talked to coach, I checked my weight. I was about like 215, and I'm already up to like 235. So, and I'm trying to still continue on that. I want to touch down at 255 and then like weigh in at nationals, like 240 around there, just because like my metabolism, like, for instance, like I'm big. I take my recovery seriously. I take my sleep. I take my lifestyle, right? There's some, like when I got to nationals this year, listen to this is this year at 197, you have to make 197, 198, 199 on the third day, right? Yeah. So I get there, the first day we're there, the tournament starts Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I get there, the coaches were like, we're going to fly in Tuesday. I was like, no, I'd rather us fly in Monday night, right? So we fly in Monday night. I get in Monday night, right? We're wrestling. We'll have to make weight on Thursday, right? When I got there, my weight was 213 pounds. So I'm 16 pounds over, right? So 213, 16 pounds over, right? But I had flown, and whenever you fly, you retain water. So I drank 2 gallons of water with electrolytes, right? So I get there, I go to sleep right that night. I went to bed at 213. Next morning, I woke up, I was 204.5 pounds. So I had floated 8.5 pounds. I'd floated sometimes, not if I do it, but the thing is, I went to bed early. I went to bed at 9 and I woke up at 10. So I got 13 hours of sleep.
The science behind it is so incredible. And I think it actually gets better for you. here at Nebraska
Yeah.
because they've got the data, they've
Yep.
got the personnel for you.
Yep, for sure.
I was telling Bach before in the previous segment that I was at Nationals and I was in the corridor right as the walkout. And
You were at Wrestling Nationals?
Yeah.
The National Championships?
Yeah,
Wow,
and
nice.
and sitting there watching you immediately post match go into recovery and weight loss
Right.
was the most. I was telling Bach, that's how you learn who people are,
Right.
and to watch how you went about it. I've never seen anybody more focused and more positive about, hey, I just wrestled, just got my win. Now I need to get ready for the next thing. And you quickly moved into it. It was impressive.
Well, really, there's two wrestling matches, right? You got a match against a scale, and you got a match against your opponent. And if you don't cut that weight right, if you're really destroying your body to get on the scale, right, man, it's going to show. And I think that's one thing that me and Cardena is actually the guy that ended up taking fourth. One of my friends from Bergen Catholic, he was pulling a lot of weight this year too. And that's why we always talked about too. I think we've tried to advocate for this and like talked about it, but like I'm surprised they don't have like a 225, 215 around weight class, like a weight class. I think it would honestly pull a lot more football players to wrestling too, because 197. I mean, there's barely any football players that are walking around that unless you're a cornerback or a very speed based guy. Right? Even the guys that have a lot of speed, like myself, like I feel just as fast as I was at 197 as I do at 235. My explosiveness, my agility is just as good because I train it. My flexibility is just as good. I still have the splits.
When did you put down football?
I stopped playing football in 8th and 9th grade. So 7th grade was my last year. I played at Curtis Middle School. Curtis is one of the schools in Allen, which football was huge, right? And I was loving it. I remember back in middle school, I think I held like the school record for like most sacks in one game. I had like 7 sacks in one game. I was like off the charts. They're having me play like middle linebacker, but like pretty much every other play, they're having me just like blitz around the corner and just get to the quarterback. And I was lighting people up on the field.
You see Matt Rule dialing right now. Coach Rule's like, hey, just a couple of plays. Like we'll protect him, but especially he's walking around at 240. It's going to be a problem. AJ Ferrari joins us. First of all, once again, thank you for making time. I don't know what your schedule is. I know you got a crazy schedule and you have to be at places all over. But I would like to ask you to stay another 10 minutes if that's possible.
Yeah, that's no problem. I have a little bit more time.
Okay, so here's what
I have till what time is it right now?
It's 12:55.
Yeah, I'm good. I have till 1:30.
Okay, so here's what we'll do. We'll end one-on-one, and then we'll come back and we'll get started with Bach in the black shirt. But it'll be me and AJ and Bach. Y'all got to hear this guy because I'm just telling you, it's a great story, a wonderful addition to the program and to this community. This community got better when AJ Ferrari got here. DP, AJ Ferrari, don't go anywhere. 1 o'clock. We're going to bring it back to you.
This is James Harrell with NP Dodge Real Estate. When I became a licensed realtor, I wanted a brokerage that would help me grow in my new career. I found that in Lincoln First Realty. When Lincoln First was acquired by NP Dodge, the training and support I received only got better. I love knowing I have the power of the NP Dodge brand behind me. I would recommend NP Dodge to new agents